I met up with Scott Cavanaugh virtually, and we're going to share some comedy tips with you right now. Before we begin, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're dropping new content every week, new live shows every week. Let's get to it. Okay, all right. So I wanted to ask you, if I was starting comedy today, brand new comic, I just had this epiphany, like I should do comedy.
Yep.
I'm going to be great at it. What are a few tips that Scott Cavanaugh would give to a new comedian if you ran into him?
Sure. So we talking like right now during COVID or like normal scenario?
That's a great follow-up question. I don't know. I think, I mean, just either or. I mean, if you're just starting off, I don't think all right, if you're just starting off, you're not going to get on the stage necessarily on day one to perform in front of a live audience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if it's just day one, I mean, it could be, you know, going the virtual route, or, you know, if COVID wasn't happening, you know, because someone might watch this video in 3 years and not really have to worry about virtual shows. They just want to do the classical, get up on stage mics and stuff like that. So however you want to give tips, Scott.
Yeah, sure. I think first thing you should do is think about any time that you've told a story or like a joke that's kind of unique to you that really made like roommates or friends or family like genuine laugh. Think about it and then just try and work that premise. Try and remember it. Try and write out why it was funny. Try and base it off that instead of just writing like straight up punchline jokes. So just think of those if you can. I assume if you're trying comedy, you've probably been told that you're funny, or you've had experiences where you're always seeing when you're talking, people are laughing. So try and base it off those. Write it out, talk it out. The way I do it is I just walk around the block and talk. And if it made me laugh or giggle to myself, I get out the phone, type in the premise, come back and work on it. I like walking and talking it out.
Now, are you talking to yourself?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But if I think it's funny and maybe it was a story that worked, that made my roommates laugh before, I'll try it on some different friends over the phone or something. And I'm kind of a scumbag where I don't go like, hey, I'm going to try a premise now. I just try and work it in. And if it seems to be working, it's like, all right, let me do that. So like one that I used to do a lot when I started was like this cat that's behind me. I adopted it. It was a rescue. And like, oh, I'm a hero. And everyone's like, oh, that's really sweet. You did that. And it's one of my biggest regrets of all time is adopting this cat, which is kind of true. I was not ready for any amount of responsibility. But like I said, it was this weird thing where I was like trying to say I was a good person for adopting it, but I also hated the cat. So, and like people would laugh when I told like that scenario. I was like, all right, let me just work on it. Why do I hate him, but why do I like him? And then like would work it out. And then if you have the ability to go to an open mic, go to as many as you can. Even if you don't get up, I mean, Los Angeles is, I don't know if people know, you don't always get up if it's like a lottery or they run out of time, but at the very least you're watching other people. Just consume as much content as you can. Like, why do you like that comic? Was it their way they moved on stage? Was it the way they talked? The way I really fell in love with comedy was just listening to like hundreds, maybe at this point, thousands and thousands of podcasts about comedy, and just watching so much stand-up. That's all I did in college. That's all I did when I got out here. And you just like find out what resonates with you and why you think it's funny and just have conversations with other people. It's like comedy is very subjective and people don't, I love comics and my friends would be like, yeah, they're not funny, man. And I'm like, why? Because I just want to know what's not hitting with them that just hits with me so hard. So
yeah,
try writing what you know, what other make people laugh, develop it. If you can get up on stage, great, and try it out. But just at the beginning, just absorb as much as you can. Like so many podcasts out there now, so many just stand-up clips on YouTube, and just see what's working and why do you think it's working. Just analyze it at the beginning. And right now, it's probably in quarantine. If you start, I think consume more than anything right now and analyze it because you can't really get up. So that would be my basic advice. And if you like comedy, like I was so obsessed and still am, but so obsessed in college with the idea of stand-up. I mean, I probably listened to Mark Maron's WTF like daily, like thousands of episodes of just different comedians and how they came up, writers, improvisers, stand-ups. And it's like, there's so much information. And everyone did it a little differently. So just pick what you like and see what works. And yeah, that would be the gist of it, I guess.
So if you could go back in time and talk to Scotty Cavanaugh on day one of your comedy venture, I know this is kind of like going off of what you said before, but what would you say to yourself, like comedy strategy? Like, here's what you're going to do, bro. This is the plan you're going to take. Like, this is how we're going to attack it.
Yep.
Like, what would you do?
I love that question. Because the person in college, I would say, dude, first thing you got to do, and I know you've been on stage twice, but you got to shed the idea of like trying to do a character that's not authentically you. Like when I started, my two idols were Bill Burr and Louis C.K. I was a Boston guy. It was like 2012. So I was like literally trying to have like the attitude of Bill Burr, but like doing self-deprecation jokes like Louis. And it was like, dude, I think you're just trying to embody these people. And it was working in college because I think it was just, I was young and people thought it was, you got so much credit for just being on stage when you were 17 or 18. So like, you didn't have to have like incredible jokes. I think people just respected that you would go on stage. So it was just like jokes about me being out of shape. And I was trying to do it with attitude like Bill Burr. And the first thing I'd be like is, dude, start just being authentically you, which takes time to try and figure that out and discover it. You're always going to resonate with your idols, but do that more, which back on the East Coast in New Hampshire, there wasn't a ton of practice. You couldn't really do there's not a huge open mic scene in like random Durham, New Hampshire, where I went to college. So that would be the first thing. But I would say as soon as you get to LA, you got to get up way more. It took me I had a day job that was super stressful. It was sales. So I didn't do many open mics in my first year. I could probably less than like a dozen, to be honest. And it took me like 3 or 4 months to get out there. And it was just like, man, you should have been doing way more. You should have been writing way more. And you totally could have. And you were lazy and you didn't know. You just didn't get it yet. And it's like to have experiences. The way I first met TK with Rebels of Comedy is because I took an improv class with someone who was doing improv but had done stand-up and already knew TK. And I had one open mic video that I thought was decent. It was on Facebook. And I was like, how are you doing? You're younger than me, man. How are you doing booked shows? And he was like, oh, I did, this is how I did it, but I'll introduce you and it's bringers and here's how it works. And it was like, the only reason I got that first that was 2 years in. And the only reason I got that is because I took an improv class. And then from there, I met someone that had done shows at the Comedy Store. And they're like, you're funny. Where do you want to perform? It could be a dream to do the Comedy Store. And they were like, oh, I have an in over there. Let me bring you over there. Do you have any people that you know? And it's very networky. And I was like, I do these pop-up shows here, here, and here. I'll introduce you. And then that's kind of how it works at the beginning. And you just but it's all about putting yourself in experiences. And the only way you're going to do that is by going to open mics and sitting at tables with strangers and going to support each other. Like trying to go to your bringer shows or come on your comedy show, like do the interview right now. It's just like everyone has to help each other at this level and put yourself in more opportunities by just doing more. Just do more. You're lazy, man. That's the constant refrain that I have. Whether or not I really am, I'm not sure. I definitely think I could write more. I think a lot of people look at like you or me and probably like, you're doing all this extra stuff with interviews and your show. I don't know if you feel like I should still be doing more, but I'm always like, dude, you got to write more. You got to get some online content like a podcast or a YouTube channel going. Like, I think you'll always feel that way, but so just do it. Do it. I still give myself that advice, but yeah.
Thank you so much for tuning in. That was some awesome tips from Scott Cavanaugh. We love you so much. Make sure you go check him out. Information in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're dropping new content every week. If you're a new comedian and want some advice, ask below. We will try to help you out with whatever we can. What do you think our next video should be? Who should I interview? Who shouldn't I interview? Let's discuss.